are watching CIOTV by Enterprise IT World, a production of Accent Infomedia.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning to all of you. You are watching CIOTV.live, and we have been speaking to the stakeholders of the IT industry to understand their strategy. Now with me is Rahul Rao. He's head IT, DevOps and Cloud for Pine Labs. I'm going to speak to him and understand him about his perspective on the industry and his experience so far and his expectation on his responsibility. Rahul, thank you very much for joining in and speaking to CIOTV.live.
Right. Thanks so much, Sanjay. It's good to connect on CIO TV right now. I know that there are a lot of altercations which have happened in the career, and that's how exactly we're connecting back here.
Yeah, Rahul, I can see your career graph is quite diverse. You started from a different organization or different vertical of market, then ITS, then you went into the manufacturing, Apollo Tires, then now in Pine Labs. Three organization or three sectors do not have any relation at all. What did we, how did you, find the things very interesting for you to jump from one sector to another and create a very fat, CV for you?
So it was never about the CV updation, right? Sanjay, to be honest, what I really wanted to do in life is to grab the opportunities to learn more and the new technologies which are evolving, right? So we started from a very small handheld, telephones which were there. And now we are actually using the mobile for doing all the particular works in the daily, work-life balance which we have altogether. So my journey in ITS, in fact, it started. I was actually, I was situated in multiple locations all across the world itself, and I was setting up the data centers for IT infrastructure. So it all started with curiosity, I would say, because the first organization was Cisco. I was handling the network. I always wanted to understand how exactly the networks are built. And when I moved into Accenture, I wanted to understand we are building the networks, but for what IT systems and everything like that. So from there, the passion actually changed. I moved from there to a telecom, which is Airtel, where I really wanted to understand how the IT infrastructure and the cloud infrastructure actually works, because cloud was something which was just picking up the pace. So we built up a lot of big scale, private cloud solutions. Then the next interesting curiosity was in regards to the public domain of cloud infrastructure. When we went into the manufacturing domain, it was a very good use case because they wanted to actually move their complete ERP solutions from on-prem over to the cloud itself. And I wanted to have my hands on, on that particular project. And that's exactly how I, landed up in manufacturing. And from manufacturing, I've moved now to a fintech organization because that's where the whole compliance and the scalability in terms of global geographies in fact comes in picture, and that's what I would like to actually handle here right now.
But what interesting aspects you found in Pine Labs, which motivated you to jump into this sector?
Right. So, it was very interesting journey, I would say, because I always used to look at e-wallets, right, for doing the transaction, and suddenly everything changed when the UPI transactions got in place. And now, a lot of people in daily lives do not carry any kind of wallets altogether. Even if in case they forgot the wallet, they are good to go if they have their, mobile device available with it. But when I was having a conversation with one of my colleagues in terms of how exactly these, the POS terminals work, and when he actually gave me a glimpse of, different certification, how data integrity and data breach and other certifications they actually follow to make sure that, the whole financial transaction actually goes from bank over to your mobile and all the receipts generation and all, means it was quite fascinating. Then I met the CTO of Pine Labs, who is Sanjeev, who initially founded, the code of the POS terminal altogether. So he told me, what are the different things they're actually planning and, the different markets in the world which they want to actually expand. And cloud is going to be a different player altogether for all these solutions to be placed in. So I thought it's really interesting, for expanding the horizons to understand how the fintech organization and compliance and all the certification actually comes in picture. So just doing my job, in fact, I would say
Very
right now.
interesting. Very interesting, Rahul. All right. So can you just put some lights on your roles and responsibilities since you have already joined?
So, Sanjay, I actually have multiple domains rolling up to me. In fact, so I am handling the complete IT infrastructure for Pine Labs group as such. There are multiple other, companies which are actually under the Pine Labs group umbrella itself, like Mozambique or Setu or Fave and all. So we are actually consolidating the IT infrastructure to make sure that we are compliant as per the RBI guidelines and everything like that. So if you talk about IT domain, which I'm actually handling, I am having six different domains which I need to handle right now. One is complete networks, which is there in fact. The second one is the IT infrastructure, which we have, which is on-prem as well. The third is the corporate IT to make sure that all the office locations and everything, in fact, is well managed and they are optimum to the users who are sitting across. Because now the culture of work from home is actually shifting towards work from office now. I also have IT procurement under my sleeve because we wanted to get rid of the juggernauts which we have with the finance team in terms of what IT requirements we have and IT procurement which we need to do. And I also have the cloud infrastructure team and the DevOps observability and SRE team, in fact, because offline business was something which they were actually doing from on-prem infrastructure. But now, as the cloud adoption has actually increased, they are actually creating multiple PAPGs, gateways across on the cloud itself. And there are a lot of compliance and a lot of observability which you need because everything happens in seconds in a fintech organization for getting the particular user experience to a good level, I would say.
Okay, okay. Rahul, these days, a lot of new technologies are creating buzz in the industry, especially Gen AI, right?
Yeah.
What are the technologies that you are dabbling with that you want to implement or just, on the DevOps space that you are looking at?
Okay. So the first thing is Gen AI is a very big piece, because it's a very latest term in the technology world which has come on. So if you look at the Gen AI, you can just take up any of the CSPs which are there, in fact, and start using the solution. But that's not the way we want to actually evaluate it out because we first want to actually look at the use cases which we have in the domains, which different domains and different, companies which we have altogether in the Blind Lab group itself. If there is a specific use case, we definitely go about understanding the requirement with the business itself, maybe the HR function or maybe the finance function itself, and then work with the different CSPs which are available like AWS or Azure to get to a requirement and training the particular model which we have in terms of LLMs. Now, from a DevOps perspective in Pine Labs, what our major focus is the observability of the whole application stack which we have, because that's the bread and butter for the company itself. So any transaction which is even having a slight latencies or any kind of metrics which is actually failing, we really want to actually first have the complete full visibility of the complete stack, and that's what exactly we are trying to actually work towards too.
All right, now the year has just started. You must be looking at, or there must be some responsibility on your shoulder as to this many
Yeah.
projects you have to complete by the end of this financial year. If you can, without
Right.
looking, much, deeper into the conversation, if you can just touch upon the projects that you are looking at to execute, or those are in the pipeline, will be really nice.
Mhm. Of course. So there are multiple projects altogether which we're already running across.
Mm.
I joined the organization like it's just been a month, I would say. So the first thing which has come up to my sleeves is the AOP discussion which we have in terms of what exactly we need, in fact, for next year and what are the different AI/ML charters, which we need to execute. If I talk about the current year projects which we need to really work upon is, like the tech refreshes which are there, in fact, in multiple locations like in Malaysia and Dubai, which we are, trying to do right now, as well as the cost optimization which we need, in fact, for the cloud, platform which we have, because there are a lot of services in cloud which you need to be very cautious about, when you're actually dealing with them. So we are actually trying to reduce the expenditure which we have on the cloud infrastructure by doing multiple, I would say, tasks and programs to optimize the cost. At the same time, apart from this, we are also looking for expanding, our cloud infrastructure. But we have to actually look at multiple different geographies, their, data privacies, laws, and everything like that. The way we have in India, we have the same limitations which are available. So how we can actually, work towards that is something we are actually working on right now.
Okay, Rahul, before I ask you the next question, maybe very, related to your domain. You
Please.
just mentioned about Pine Labs somewhere else in overseas market. Can you touch upon operations of Pine Labs?
I can. So Pine Lab is not only available in India, I would say, in fact. So we have a major, deployment which is there in Malaysia, where exactly all, the derivatives which we have or the offerings which we are actually doing in Indian market, we are also doing that in Malaysia, and it's been operational for around 2 years now. In the same manner, we are also doing, the UPI, PAPG, aggregator business in Dubai as well. And we are trying to actually expand to more GCC countries at the same time. Philippines is also coming up, in fact, in the Asian sector, which we have. So Pine Lab is growing, I would say, right now in the Asian and the GCC market, I would say.
All right. Now, last question is that the areas that you are in, from your personal engagement point of view, those are cloud, network, DevOps. So these are
Yeah.
the very critical areas, and a lot of challenges are there in the market. What exactly is the challenge for a CIO or for head of the department, and what are the challenges
Mhm.
that you personally facing, and how are you trying to mitigate all those challenges?
See, with these many different domains, I have multiple, user adaptation
Mm.
issues which I see with the technology, right? So it's that mindset which you need to change because, people who are actually working under, this particular domain, they get into a comfort zone with the kind of technologies they're using. They don't want to actually, innovate and try to look at multiple other options. So easy way out is something which usually is the trend, in fact, in this particular, domains which we are talking about. So the challenge is just changing the mindset of, the engineers and the SMEs which we have, in fact, and asking them to look for other ways as well, and challenging them, whatever options they are actually, coming up with, in fact, to get to a scalable and a very cost optimized solution which is needed for the organization. That's the only thing which I'm actually working on, I would say.
What about resistance to the change? You are doing something because I'm hearing a lot about that.
Yes.
The leader says that, but then the workforce are very resistant to the ideas, and it takes
Yeah.
time unless there is pressure from the top.
Correct. So what I do is I actually motivate the team by doing a cross skilling across. So if a guy is very good in let's say Linux, right? So I do a cross skilling on the Windows as well, letting him know that it's you need to be master of both if you want to cover the complete IT infrastructure side itself. I lead by example because they already have seen, from my experience, I would say that it's also in networks. You also need to be good in IT infrastructure. You also need to be good in DevOps and cloud ops as well. So that's how exactly I motivate and I cross skill the team. So, they feel that yes, they are working on the new technologies which are there, in fact, which has a good value in the market, I would say.
All right, Rahul, thank you very much. Last one is what will be your piece of message to your peer group or young, CIO aspirants or, budding CIO or emerging CIOs, IT heads, those who are thinking that
Mhm.
if I'm sticking to my domain, my growth is really, really, percentage of growth is really, really high. Whereas you have
Mhm.
showcased that you need not to stick to a particular domain area or sector. You can
Mhm.
move from one sector to another, still you can earn success.
Yeah. See, the only suggestion I would give to people would be that choose what you really like, in fact, not as per what exactly is market trend, like, okay, you're getting paid well if you adopt Gen AI. The point is you need to love Gen AI to understand, what are the different language models there are, what are Chang and everything. So when you're interested in that particular technology, you adapt that particular technology well. I was always curious, so curiosity is something which you should always have, and basis on the curiosity, you should map your career growth, I would say.
Some of the technologies that you see that on the horizon that people should be looking at, apart from Gen AI.
To be honest, in fact, they should look for open, stack altogether. So there are a lot of, providers which actually gets you into a vendor lock-in model. So always try to evaluate as much you can and go for the open stack technologies which are available, let's say OpenShift or, the containerization which are available. Plus cloud is always, emerging. So I would say you should be on track with the cloud technologies or optation as well at the same time.
What is your view around quantum computing?
Quantum computing, I would say it's really good because we initially thought, you can't actually add up, number of processor on a chip more than that. So the Moore's law has already gone across, I would say. And you're embedding more processor, more compute power, which is to be added, and everything is evolving as we are speaking right now. So NVIDIA has done very good, in fact, in the same quantum technology and computing as well. And that's why exactly they are scaling higher in the AI business right now. So I would say yes, it's the next generation technology we need to actually look at.
All right, Rahul, thank you very much for taking time out from your busy schedule and speaking to CIOTV.live. And happy New Year to
No
you.
issues. Thank you so much, Sanjay. And it was great speaking to you.
Thank you. Thank you.